The drums struck with thunder, calling every eye, every foot, every breath to attention. Color flowed through the courtyard as villagers moved in vibrant attire. Laughter and chatter blending with the rhythm, sharp and alive. Music surged like wind over dry grass, and the crowd pressed closer, eyes wide, hearts quickened. Voices rose, sharp and cautious, offering guidance. Enough. I need no advice from weak minds. The words cut through the murmurs, leaving a ripple of tension. Whispers spread, flickering like fire through dry straw. He thinks he rules the world already. Children peeked from behind baskets, their eyes wide with fear and curiosity. Elders shook their heads, muttering quietly, each glance carrying the weight of disapproval. Steps moved with purpose, deliberate and steady, drawing attention through the throng. Eyes fixed, voices quieted, the figure advanced, calm and unwavering. Carrying the certainty of courage in every measured movement, the crowd parted slightly as bold words reached the arrogant ears. A challenge unspoken yet clear. Who dares speak to me like this? One who sees what you refuse to see yourself. Gasps rippled through the villagers. Whispered questions hung like sparks in the air. Some cheered quietly, hearts daring the impossible. Others drew back, wary of royal wrath. Eyes met, hands clutched, and the tension stretched tight across the courtyard. Glances were exchanged among cautious minds, uncertainty flickering. Yet calm persisted, a quiet insistence that demanded focus. Words sharpened, each one deliberate, heavy with meaning. Forcing pride to face perception, you will learn, one way or another, the weight of pride. A hush fell. Curiosity leaned forward, suspense balanced on every shoulder, every flick of an eye. The challenge hovered unspoken yet undeniable, as the smirk of arrogance stretched across one proud face, hiding the storm beneath. Eyes flickered, heartbeats quickened, and a subtle tension held the courtyard in its grip. Pride and wisdom squared, waiting for the first move. While anticipation danced like fire through the crowd, the prince moved with a stride that demanded attention, each step echoing authority. Royal cloths shimmered with every motion, glinting like the sun on polished bronze. My blood gives me power. None may question me. Eyes followed, wary and wide. Whispers drifted among the crowd, carrying unease and wonder alike. Pride stretched beyond confidence, flirting with cruelty. Murmurs spread like sparks across dry grass. Hearts beating faster at the sight of arrogance worn so boldly. Waited at the edge. Quiet, yet piercing. Watching, calculating, the gaze measured every gesture, every twitch of pride. Fingers flexed lightly, a hint of preparation hidden beneath composed poise. A plan began to take root. Old memories stirred in the whispers of the villagers. Tales of past competitions, past clashes, remembered victories and bitter defeats. Still the same stubborn prince, one voice muttered. Soft but pointed. Advice arrived gently, carefully chosen. Voices meant to guide rather than confront. My prince, consider the elders before you act. A quiet exchange sparked in shadowed eyes, quick whispers between allies. Weighing the arrogance before them, words alone will not change him, came the soft reply, rising tall. Unwavering, a force of loyalty and blind obedience marked every rigid stance. Strength carried silently, watching the balance of pride and wisdom unfold. The elder stepped forward, voice carrying respect and caution. The prince's laugh cut it short, sharp and mocking. Your words are nothing before my crown. Gasps and murmurs flew like startled birds. Shock rippled through the crowd, tension pressing heavy. Eyes darted, hands clasped, some hearts daring, others trembling. Silent observation noted each humiliation, each spark of pride gone unchecked. A subtle nod marked the seed of a clever strategy, a plan to turn arrogance against itself. He will never learn from words. You must act, came a whispered counsel, urgent and sharp. Then I shall speak through deeds. Not words, came the quiet, determined reply. Deliberate and clear, arrogance clashed with calm intelligence, a visible tension drawing every gaze. Crowds leaned forward, senses alert, caught between fear and hope, curiosity and dread. Eyes followed every motion, hearts quickened with anticipation. Murmurs grew, speculation ran, whispers of challenge and reckoning spreading like wind over dry grass. Some shrank, careful of confrontation. Others dared, daring to cheer in secret for the wisdom standing before pride. Every expression spoke, confidence hardened, composure unwavering. Every glance held meaning, every whisper shaped the moment. Attention fixed, waiting, breath held. As the dance of pride and wisdom began to unfold, eyes watched sharply, noting every stride, every gleam of pride. Arrogance moved like armor, unyielding. Yet the mind behind it measured each moment with quiet patience. He will learn the weight of pride through action, not words. A clever plan took shape, woven in silence. As schemes built around every boast and sneer, observation became strategy. Attention became preparation. A task arrived cloaked in honor, wrapped in prestige. Gifts were placed in eager hands, promises of glory whispered into eager ears. This is child's play. I accept. Confidence strode forward, chest high, eyes scanning those who had doubted. Pride gleamed like polished metal, untouchable. Or so it seemed. The villagers' eyes followed cautiously, wary of the arrogance that had humiliated before. Each glance carried memory and quiet judgment. Laughter trembled on lips, not daring to speak. Tension coiling around the prince's every motion. Do you see how your words wound us, prince? The challenge struck sudden and true. Defense stumbled, pride faltering under the weight of remembered wrongs. Words slipped, flustered and thin. Murmurs grew into gentle mockery and dignity slipped. One step at a time. Gifts tumbled, rolling into mud, splashing with sudden chaos. Laughter burst, a mixture of surprise and delight. Faces twisted in embarrassment, hands raised in jest. Pride slipped further with every stumble, every wet cloth and muddied coin. Satisfaction glimmered unseen, quiet but sharp. Another challenge came, dressed in ceremonial glory. A hunt promised honor, adventure, and the thrill of prestige. Confidence surged, only to falter in the mud. Hunting gear sank, pride sank deeper, peers whispered, some mocking, others daring to cheer. Even a prince can fall. Voices carried through the assembly, sharp and gleeful. Lessons clawed at arrogance, teaching with sting and spectacle. Voices rose. Defense straining, pride snapping at restraint. I am a prince. I am, above all. The reply came calm, measured, unshaken, cutting sharper than any blade. A crown without respect is a curse, not power. Shock rippled through the crowd. Eyes widened, jaws tightened, hearts beating with sudden realization. Some nodded, some gasped, and the weight of truth settled on the proud and stubborn. Yet shadows stirred, jealousy twisting, ambition watching. A secret plot whispered in cautious corners, plotting further falls, hoping to turn humiliation into disaster. Tests followed in quick succession, each a mirror held to arrogance. Respect for elders demanded. Tasks required cooperation, thought, and humility. Pride cracked, defenses faltered, patience tested. Each failure pressed, each stumble taught. Each challenge unveiled weakness. Eyes observed. Calm, unwavering. Satisfaction hidden beneath composed poise. Patience. He is learning the hard way. Laughter and whispers rippled through the crowd. Astonishment dancing with admiration for cleverness unseen. Children mimicked missteps. Elders exchanged knowing glances. The rhythm of lessons carried in every gesture and reaction. Frustration rose like a river. Unstoppable, relentless. Embarrassment burned, chest tightening with each misstep. Pride began to bend, though slowly, painfully perhaps. I am not above all. Mud clung stubbornly, treasures lost, dignity tested. Observation remained still, confidence unshaken. The plan unfolding as intended. Laughter, whispers, and astonished eyes marked the passage of lessons. Each failure sharpening understanding, each slip nudging toward humility, frustration, embarrassment, and dawning awareness moved together. A journey of arrogance into respect had begun, and every misstep marked the first steps toward a transformation none had dared to hope for. Fury stormed forward. Each step a drumbeat of outrage. Pride, battered by failure, the march carried anger that demanded attention. I will not be made a fool of again. Silence pressed on the crowd, eyes wide, breaths held. Every villager, every advisor waited, tension coiling like a serpent ready to strike. Calm met chaos, unyielding and steady. Eyes locked, steady and unwavering, inviting confrontation yet unafraid. I have shown you lessons you refuse to see. Words cut through the storm of pride, sharp and measured. The challenge hung in the air, patient yet undeniable. You will pay for this humiliation. Voices rose, sharp with defiance, shaking the air. Fear and anticipation twisted through the watchers' nerves taut. Whispers spreading like fire through dry grass, truth revealed itself in clarity. Every trial, every stumble, every fall had been a mirror held to arrogance. Humility, empathy, justice, the lessons had been woven in every challenge. These trials were never punishment. They were your mirror. Resistance surged, pride screaming against understanding. I do not need lessons from anyone. Yet cracks appeared, subtle but undeniable. Eyes flickered, chest tightened. Hesitation whispered where defiance had roared. Sudden chaos erupted, jagged and immediate. Flames licked at the edges, smoke swirled and twisted, Shouts rang out as treasure vanished, slipping into the hands of unseen thieves. Rival forces pressed forward, daring and ruthless quickly. Follow my lead or all is lost. Actions surged through order and command, leadership asserting itself where fear might have ruled. Hands moved, voices carried direction, and the tide began to shift. For the first time, pride stepped aside. Urgency demanded selflessness, and motion followed necessity. Rescue, protection, courage movement wrestled against arrogance. Each act a small surrender to responsibility. The eyes of the people widened, shock mingled with awe. The prince, he is changing. Slowly, realization settled like dawn after a storm. Humility, respect, and understanding took root where only pride had grown. I see now. I was blind. Wisdom responded with quiet strength, calm, yet commanding. True strength is measured by the hearts you touch, not the power you hold. Order returned, chaos subdued. Flames died, treasures secured, rivals repelled. Hands that had once only given commands now worked alongside. A partnership of action, symbolizing transformation complete. Eyes watched, wide and reverent. Laughter, whispers, and astonishment wove through the crowd. Respect earned in courage, humility, and decisive action shone brighter than any crown. The prince lowered his head and bent at the knees, a gesture heavy with humility. Every eye turned, disbelief rippling through the crowd. I ask forgiveness for my arrogance and thoughtlessness. Murmurs spread like wind through the village. Elders nodded slowly, recognizing sincerity where once only pride had ruled. Children watched with wide eyes, curiosity and admiration dancing together. Seeing change before them, a quiet, steady voice rose above the murmurs. Courage and wisdom blended. Acknowledging the first true step of transformation, acknowledging one's errors is the first step to true strength. Let humility guide you always. Joy erupted. Drums thundered, feet moved in rhythm, hands clapped, and voices lifted in celebration. The village sang and danced, the old tensions dissolving like morning mist under the sun. Harmony returned, strong and vibrant. Reconnecting the people with their royal family, hands once used only for command now reached out to help. Elders were supported, supplies distributed, repairs made to what arrogance had broken. The prince moved with purpose, sweat on brow and care in action. Each movement speaking louder than words ever could. Those who had schemed in shadows could no longer hide. Deceit was exposed, plotting punished, and order restored. Let all see that deceit brings no victory here. All around, wise allies exchanged knowing glances. Words, brief but full of meaning, reflected the lessons learned, and the kingdom strengthened. She truly guided him to see beyond himself. The kingdom is stronger when pride bends to wisdom. A quiet figure watched the celebrations with a subtle smile. Triumph was theirs, but pride did not swell. Respect flowed naturally from the people, eyes lifted in gratitude, voices lifted in harmony. The prince knelt, worked, laughed with the children, and shared the burdens of the villagers. The crown he wore gleamed not just with gold but with humility earned and wisdom gained. A crown without humility is empty. Now, ours shines brighter. The music rose, hands lifted, and a new rhythm carried through the village, a rhythm of unity, respect, and enduring strength. The lessons had taken root. A new era had begun. Calm and poised, she stepped forward, commanding every eye and ear. Villagers and royals alike fell silent. Sensing the weight of truth about to be spoken, let all hear the truth behind these trials. A hush settled, broken only by the soft rhythm of anticipation. Wisdom flowed through her words, steady and firm, touching hearts and minds alike. A crown may grant power, but only humility can earn respect. Heads nodded slowly, eyes brightened with understanding. Even children, wide-eyed and attentive, seemed to absorb the lesson, mimicking gestures with innocent curiosity. The contrast was clear. The prince, once blinded by pride, now stood transformed. His arrogance faded, replaced by the first stirrings of respect and comprehension. True leaders listen, learn, and serve, not just command. Every villager felt the truth in the words. The kingdom's past misdeeds weighed heavy no more, their consequences acknowledged, their lessons internalized. Each action, each careless boast, now shown to carry weight beyond the crown. Courage revealed itself not in command, but in humility. Strength bloomed through service and respect. The young prince's journey had forged him anew, shaping resolve through empathy and care. Courage is not shown in power alone, but in service and respect. The people responded quietly, yet with unmistakable admiration. Elders exchanged approving glances. Children lifted hands, imitating the gentle, deliberate motions of guidance. Trust, once strained, began to flow freely again between rulers and those they served. This is only the beginning of his path as a wise prince. The words lingered in the air, hinting that growth would continue and challenges still awaited. Lessons had been learned, but the journey of leadership never truly ends. A subtle gesture acknowledged the transformation. The young prince rose taller, shoulders straighter, but humility softened his stance. Respect radiated through him now, earned and not demanded. The village watched silently, absorbing the moral of the day, their hearts full of admiration, their minds awake to the truth that leadership, when paired with humility, brought harmony and strength. A calm, knowing smile passed over her face, mirrored by the reflective, thoughtful gaze of the young prince. Children played quietly, mimicking the gestures of wisdom and service, while elders whispered approval and encouragement. The kingdom, safe and united for the moment, braced for the future. The lessons had taken root, yet subtle tension lingered, a quiet promise that the story was far from over.